Right, so a few more coming in there. I'll just admit those. So yeah, we're at, what are we at? 3 minutes, no, 4 minutes past. And we will, I think, kick off. So I'd like to welcome you all to the 8th APTN Zoom call this week on landing gears. And I'd like to thank the speakers this week, Paul Brennan, who is General Manager, Ashbourne and Group Head of Landing Gears at Dublin Airspace, for coming to talk a little bit about their experience on landing gear and the new setup in Ashbourne. I'd like to welcome Carolus Jurkavinius, who is VP Landing Gear Trading and Leasing at APOC Aviation in the Netherlands. And finally, I'd like to welcome Alex O'Brien, who has just joined me as Head of Business Origination at APTN. Alex is a graduate from Embry-Riddle Aviation University, and he is due to start UCD Masters in Aviation Finance in UCD in September this year. So on that note, I'll hand over to Paul, and if you want to kick off there, Paul, with your screen share.
Yeah, sure.
That looks good. You want to just do your
right, have we all got that?
Perfect, perfect. Go ahead.
Well, I suppose first, thanks, Alan, for the invitation just to talk on it. Yeah, it gives us something new to do. I've kept the slides for minimum 5 slides just to kind of keep all this thing to 10, maybe 15 minutes. And because I know Carolus is mad to get in and do his presentation following this. Yeah. So, yeah, Alan has kind of introduced me there, Paul Brennan. I'm General Manager, Head of Landing Gears with Dublin Airspace, and before that, SRT and FLS. So I've 42 years accumulated at this stage. So that's kind of a bit of my background. So what we're talking about today is the landing gear service, especially in relation to COVID times we're going through at the moment, and particularly since kind of last March when there was a bit of a clampdown. For those who don't know, just a bit of background on Dublin Airspace itself. Obviously, we're based in Dublin, have Hangar 5 and Hangar 1 landing gears and Hangar 1 base maintenance, and the APU shop is in Hangar 5. So they're kind of 3 functions that Dublin Airspace look after. Just dealing with landing gears specifically, our capability in Dublin is on the Boeing, the 737 and the A320 family. So that's the Boeing 737, 678, 900, 900ER, and the A318, 19, 20, and 21 landing gears, full overhaul capability within Dublin. The shop itself has a capacity in the current facility to overhaul 150 legs per year, and we do that with 72 staff, which is 58 directs, 8 indirects, and 6 apprentices. Last couple of years, I mean, since Dublin Airspace opened, the first year, you know, I think we done something like 20 legs, but in the 10 years since we opened, we've grown the business, and this year we're targeting to really reach capacity of what's the Dublin shop can do at the moment. And having seen that in the last year or two, we've been looking to see how we could expand further. And last year we made the decision to buy what is an unused warehouse in Ashbourne, which gives us 60,000 square feet. So hopefully within the year, we plan to move to that facility, close down Hangar 1 and start operations in Ashbourne. I'll talk a bit more about that just on a later slide, but the basics are that it will allow us to double our capacity, and it also allows us to move off airside, which is a bit of a hindrance to us at the moment. With COVID-19 at the moment, I suppose the big issues surfaced obviously when the airlines and fleets around the world started to shut down, start to park aircraft up, which really came in, I suppose, mid-March was the main hit on it. Dublin Airspace is, with a lot of other aerospace companies, I suppose, we continue to work as we were deemed to be essential by the government as a supporter or a supplier to the aerospace industry. To date, and there is some luck attached to this, that you know, we have had 0 cases of COVID in-house within the company during that period, and touch wood, it remains that way. We have had 104 cases where people just went into self-isolation, whether they got other forms of flu or just felt that it was safe to do so. But none of those 104 cases, they were all tested, none of them came back positive. But between each of them, we lost probably between 2 or the full 14 days work attendance during that period. Just with in-house, a lot of the stuff we've done, it was similar to the presentation that you saw from SR Technics last week. We've broadened shift patterns to reduce overlap of crews coming in. We have some work from home. It's difficult in our business, mainly it's clerical people, some HR, finance, some planning. So it's less than 10%, but we had maybe up to 19 people working from at home. We've also staggered breaks. We were pushing on the personal distancing, which is difficult when you're working on aircraft or in workshops, but we have been very pushy on that to keep staff distance. And then obviously the hygiene things with washing hands, we've sterilizing stations around the place, and then PPE masks. There's probably nearly more of a concern with us going forward now that the different countries are starting to open up, and you know, the fear is all on this second spike. So we're actually upping our game a bit, I suppose, from now on, that with more people and construction is back in business again, that we've actually gone to trial from next week a new software PPE program, which basically will it's a kind of a wristwatch or a buzzer that fellas will wear. Everybody will be issued one within the shop, and if they come within 2 meters of somebody else, they get an alarm which will tell them either to put on their mask or to back away out of the 2 meter distance. So we're actually going to trial that in the landing gear shop, I think, from next week. All this, it has led to some inefficiencies within the shop. Obviously, people trying to keep their distance, and it has affected some efficiencies and probably also a small drop in productivity within the area. Current outlook for the year, our budget and the forecast we set, and now our year runs from October to September, but we were targeted to be at full capacity for the year. We had all that capacity sold, which was for 150 legs during that period. To date, we've completed 86 overhauls, which is roughly on target, considering we're just over halfway through the year. However, we do see it will start to hit us now, especially in the last quarter. We're estimating that we're going to hit probably 25% fall in revenue between now and the end of the year. Most customers, everybody's going to looking for credit payment extensions, anything from 60 to 90. I've heard some people looking for 120-day extensions. So that's happening, and depending on who the customer is and whether they're a major customer to us, yes, we've offered extensions to some. 20% drop in revenue is mainly on landing gears, the airlines and the lessors, you know, as we all know, amount of aircraft that have been grounded, checks have been pushed out or deferred. So it's as a result of that that we're going to see the drop in forecast. Mainly will hit us, I think, from July to September. As you see, we're roughly on budget year to date. But because all these aircraft are now grounded, and it's going to take, the forecast is probably at least 6 months for airlines to get anywhere near where they were before. So all these gears that were due to come in the last quarter are probably still parked up around the place. So I think for landing gear for us, and it's probably the same for other landing gear MROs, the difficult period is only going to start coming in the next month or so. You know, for the last couple of months, we've been working off what we've had in the shop, backlogs, and some customers obviously decided to go ahead with gears that had booked in up until June. So that has kept us going for the moment. The outlook on the longer term, well, some landing gears have been deferred, you know, but because they are hard life units, the overhauls will still have to happen. The clocks are still running. And I know Airbus have issued some information notice to get a deferment or postponement of some checks, but my understanding of that is it doesn't apply to parts that are listed on the ALS, which landing gears are. So to me, the clock is still running on gears, even if the aircraft are parked up. So the knock-on effect of this is probably because we're 25% behind budget in the last quarter, really that 25% is just being pushed out till the following quarter or the quarter after that when aircraft start flying. So it's not that this work has disappeared, it just has been deferred and pushed out. The difficulty with that, I suppose, is in the first or second quarter next year, you have all this extra number of gears that will require overhaul. So I can see that there'll probably be a problem in availability of exchange and loans. Carolus would probably have a better idea on that. That's more his line. But I would say that, you know, if we're looking at more overhauls early next year because they're missed this year, that will and probably will become an issue. You know, just a rough figure for any airline, if they have 5 aircraft requiring gear overhauls in a year, there's 1 seed set required to look after those 5 sets of gears. Obviously, like a big airline like Ryanair or something, they might have 20 sets or 20 sets due overhaul, so they're going to need at least 4 sets of gears, which Ryanair have. A number of airlines do carry their own spare gears, but a lot don't. And as I say, for every 5 aircraft due next year, there needs to be a seed set or a loan set available out in the marketplace, which right now I'm not sure if there is. There was struggle late last year for people trying to get loan and exchange sets of gears. But having said that, we are confident that, as I said, gears are hard-lifed. They will need overhaul, and you know, we are confident that all this will return in 21, whether it's first or second quarter, but we will return back to where we were. Our confidence is that good in it that just this week, with construction opening back up in Ireland, we've commenced the construction stage of the Ashbourne facility. As I was a warehouse, we've all the design done and everything. The main contractors on site from today, and we have our first build meeting on Friday morning. So we're confident with that. It's a 40-week project. So hopefully by early next year, we'll be in the new 60,000 square feet facility with capacity of, well, as I say, capacity to double our numbers from 150 to at least 300 legs. So we're thinking positive for the future. And I suppose that's what we have to do. Alan just asked me to touch a bit on just what are the costs kind of associated with gear overhauls. Hard to put an exact price on it because every airline has different inclusions, different exclusions in the gears. You know, our retract actuators include that. But generally speaking, an average overhaul of a set of gears would be anything from $300,000 to $400,000. As I say, depending what's in, what's out, whether it's first overhaul, second overhaul. So there isn't just a magic figure there to say, look, it's 340. There's a lot of variables, and that's why it's nearly each set of gears has its own particular cost associated with it, you know, depending on service bulletin, spec, and all that. As I said, because I would forecast, just because of the number of loans and exchanges, the availability of those, that they may become more expensive to get next year. Just if they're not out there, it's supply and demand, you're going to pay more for them, I would say. And then historically, OEMs, their materials normally will go up by maybe 1.5%. Safran, less than that. Boeing are normally 1.5%. You could well see that the manufacturers trying to generate revenue post-COVID, you'll see that 1.5% increase next year, I'd say, increasing substantially. We've already seen shock strut fluid, hydraulic fluid, even small clamps, and that prices are starting to increase already. Yeah. And also we've been hit shipping costs with the airlines not flying. We're relying on freighters more and more. And we've seen long distance shipping. We ship to Asia, and that shipping costs have nearly doubled. So that's also going to have an effect on overhaul costs. So that's kind of me. I don't know whether that's 10 minutes, Alan, or so, but it's a general overview from us in Dublin Airspace as to where we are at the moment. Yeah.
That's brilliant. Paul, thanks very much. I'm interested to see, you know, coming from an engine background, the OEM increases are so small. I mean, on the engine side, typically you see 6 and 7% per year on new parts. So that's a big difference from one OEM to another. We'll hold up the questions until the end after Carolus's talk, and we can have discussion then. Carol, are you ready to go?
Yeah, I'm trying to share my screen now.
Yeah,
Okay?
that's good. Yeah, we have you there.
Yeah. Okay, so Alan, again, also as Paul has mentioned, thank you for invitation and for this short discussion. I appreciate that I can share some small insight from APOC side regarding the landing gear market. Me is different than Paul, I'm more commercial, from commercial side. So basically, because we are as APOC company, we're buying, trading or leasing assets. And for those who doesn't know APOC Aviation, let me briefly just go through the presentation to introduce a little bit who is APOC, and then I will continue generally what is happening with the market at the moment. So APOC Aviation is a Dutch-based company which was established in 2014. So basically we have close to 5 years already of working experience, which is quite young company. Our main focus is as a company by itself, we mainly focuses on the tier 1 projects. So we buy aircrafts and we turn down those aircrafts in the first part facilities, third part facilities. No, we don't do that in-house. And our main focus, of course, is A320 and 737 new gen aircraft, airframes, sorry. Few facts of the company. We have accomplished already 26 aircraft acquisitions till now. Very nice and fact is that some of funds we are crowdfunding, and one historical, let's say, fact is that in 15 minutes we raised 2.1 million euros in for our tier 1 project. The whole company is actually based in HQ, and of the company is based in Netherlands, in Berkel, close to Rotterdam. But we also have sales offices in Lithuania. We also have in Northern and Southern Americas. We're also planning to open stock hubs in Asia and in America this year, in North America this year. That's at least the plan, and we're trying to keep. And mainly what we do in our company, of course, it's component support is one of our activities. Together to the component support, we also do engine management solutions, landing gear management solution, and aircraft sourcing for teardown is, of course, to support our component stock for after teardown of the aircraft. So what's about landing gear management solution? What we do actually? We try to focus on short-term and long-term leases, on exchanges programs. We do asset trading as well. We buy and sell if needed. Usually we buy to our stock, but sometimes we have some assets available to the market and we can sell our assets from our stock. Also, we are focusing, less focusing, but also we can do repair management. This is more for our customers who is leasing assets from us, and they have lack of manpower who can manage themselves landing gear repairs. So they just ask us, where we try to find the best option in the market, working with such shops, again, also like Dublin Aerospace, we're subcontracting and doing some repairs there. Sales leaseback option, which I would like to maybe discuss a little bit more deeply a little bit later, because this is something new, and I guess for COVID-19 is a new activity and can be interesting to many of the companies. And current our lease pool is with A320, A321, 737 Classics, new gens, and with what we actually have on lease, also Boeing 757 and Boeing 767 landing gears. And so today business, COVID-19 situation, I guess is the topic number one nowadays everywhere, not only in aviation, but also, of course, aviation, it impacted very dramatically for the grounded planes and for, of course, for the revenues losses and for the whole plan and replanning all the strategies, what we're going to do. So what is about landing gears and how that impacted landing gear market is of course it's impacted the asset values in the market, especially for A320 older ones, second-hand gears, second removal gears or 20 years old gears, and pre-enhanced ones gears for the older planes. It has decrease of the pricing is around 30 to 40%. However, we see also good positive, let's say, news for other assets like 737 new gen 800s especially, or A321 heavyweight gears. These landing gears market is still on the, let's say, doesn't have a big impact on the pricing. It's just reduced number close to 5%, I would say, maybe maximum. The price reduction is here, and it's still for 800s in fresh overhaul conditions still keeps pricing above 1.5 million, and the same is with 93 tons A321 gears, which is also quite expensive. The number doesn't change due to shortage of the assets in the market currently. As Paul has mentioned, leases prices might increase later, but it's compared to current situation, the leases by itself requirements and requires has decreased for air warfare landing gears, which is needed for, of course, flying aircraft. But opposite to that is that dummy gears for like a roll around gears is needed. The increases has the requirement has increased quite dramatically, because some of our customers are looking for roll around gear and try to use this current situation while the planes are grounded to maintain the aircraft. And during the maintenance, they are planning to overhaul the gears a little bit earlier and have the aircraft ready once the flights will be allowed again. So once they will be back to the operations. What is also most interesting fact is that currently we as APOC, we are actually switching from selling mode to more to buying mode. And differently than our other speakers last week, I would say that APOC, we are still looking in assets to acquire. We're looking for reasonable prices assets, and definitely we're still trying to keep our plan for our leasing, to increase our leasing pool still on the line, and we're still trying to follow the plan. What risk we see and we might feel during this period is that repossession of the gears might be difficult, especially some of our lease customers might start filing to the bankruptcy. Fortunately to us, we don't have such customers, because our creditability reviews and of the customers, and of course we try to work with tier 1 type of customers and big MROs, and it helps us to work with financially strong companies. But there is still some risk, of course, that if the gear is subleased by MRO to their customers, that the customer might file to bankruptcy, and there might be a really big risk to repossess the gear. And of course, the biggest goal is for us also to repossess our assets before those companies will go bankrupt. And that's why we're working closely to our current customers, which is mainly big MROs, our tier 1 customers, to see where our assets are located and how we can deal together with them in this current situation, and try to forecast what's going to happen with the companies, and shall we act now and try to get our assets back, or we're still okay with the current situation and keep our assets running on the lease. And of course, it's a few customers, of course, has a claim to us, asked us actually for some payment vacations, I would say, or holidays. And we're working with those customers closely, who is actually asking for some payment postponements or vacations, or actually to asking for some discounts on the loaner assets for the moment. And we're trying to find solutions together and to see how we should survive this period altogether. For the future plans as APOC and for the market, I would say we feel that the market will start recover in spring 2021, but recover not just tries to fly, or the demand will be here, but we say that in spring 2021 we're going to be close to the same demand what we had before on the sales part. As mentioned before, we're continuing and looking for good assets, landing gears especially, for acquisition to our lease pool, and as well we're also very actively looking still to acquire airframes for teardowns, because we still have a plan to have teardowns planned, and with teardown of the aircraft is actually, which is interesting, that if we're going to have teardown and we will buy aircraft now, we will have still the whole project completed within half a year. So where the spring will be close by, and we expect the market to come back to the normal. Shortly, this is from me.
That's fantastic, Carolus. Thank you for that. Good oversight on the landing gear market currently. And it's good to see both from Paul and yourself that you do see it coming back strongly in the spring of next year, and it will survive in the meantime. Just to kick off questions, one from my side. On the aircraft teardown side, who have you been using in the past for aircraft teardown, or what are the options out there?
Mainly we use actually just facilities where aircraft is located, or the engine buyer or engine owner needs the aircraft. So it's globally, worldwide. But mainly, of course, our teardowns we had with Air Savage in UK before. Currently, we have few aircraft teardowns at Ascent in United States. And also we use E-Cube in some cases in Spain, sometimes in UK. We have completed 3 teardowns in China as well, which was quite interesting project as well for us, and nice experience. But basically, generally we do teardowns globally, but as closer to our home, teardown facility is better for us due to logistics, especially for perspective as well. As Paul has mentioned, nowadays and now the pricing for cargo and pricing for logistics is actually increasing dramatically, and I could say even not double prices we are paying. I would say in some cases in big assets transactions like landing gear A320 from United States to Europe, we shipped a few weeks ago, and actually we paid 3 times more than we used to pay.
Very good. Anybody else? Any questions for either Paul or Carolus? I'll just one for Paul actually. I'm no expert on landing gear myself, but I know with the A320 pre-enhanced and enhanced gears, you have capability for both in Dublin airspace, Paul?
Yeah, full capability. As Paul said, the pre-enhanced or the older gears, they're tending to be phased out, although they may pick up again because you can actually get a TA from Airbus to fit a pre-enhanced gear in where you had an enhanced gear, and they will let you do that for a year. We've had some customers do that. So if gears are becoming scarce, you can actually get permission to fit the pre-enhanced onto an enhanced aircraft. But yeah, we've capability for both.
Very good. All right, if there's no more questions, I'll hand over to Alex. We're just over the half-hour mark. So Alex is going to give a quick update on APTN, what he's doing. Take no more than a couple of minutes, and then we'll be ready to close the show. Alex, are you ready to move there?
Yeah, yes. I will just share this here. Okay. Thanks again, Paul and Carlos. 2 great presentations there, and just echoing what Alan said, fantastic to get a positive outlook on the time to come. So I'm just going to give an overview there, just to introduce myself if you've come in late. My name's Alex O'Brien. I just graduated from finance from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Daytona Beach, Florida, and I am coming into a master's program in aviation finance in Smurfit in UCD this September. So just to give an overview of what I'll be speaking about, I will be giving an update on the new APTN corporate page we have on LinkedIn, the APTN WhatsApp regional groups that we've introduced earlier this week, and just membership growth plans and targets for the APTN network. So the new APTN corporate page. So if any of you haven't seen this yet, I'd encourage you to go over and follow it from I think we've posted it once or twice on the APTN hub. It just basically gives day-to-day updates on APTN news. It's going to show all the YouTube videos and articles, the podcast from these weekly Zooms as well. And it's more just not to bombard the APTN hub, which is obviously more of a personal and group for the APTN members. It also, as I said here, spread awareness for the APTN network. So most of you probably got an email regarding the WhatsApp regional groups that we've introduced. There's 10 regions, as you can see here, showing the membership on each, the number of members on each region. So there's a few people got email me back regarding a one big WhatsApp group, which is something that myself and Alan have discussed. It's probably going to be something we're going to look into in the future. For now, we're going to keep it regional. If you do email me back with interest in joining the groups, you're going to be placed into the region in which you signed up for. I know some people wanted to be in 2 or 3 different regions, but for now we're just going to keep it local and keep you in the one region that you signed up for on the APTN network. Again, if you did email me and you signed up as a basic member on the APTN network, your information is not actually present on the searching tool because you're only a basic member. And we'd encourage you to re-sign up as an ATP member, which I can discuss later on in this presentation. So just to give an insight there into the APTN, the membership demographic, as you can see, we've a brilliant diversification of lots of different countries with plenty of different expertise across the board. So as you can see here, our target is, it's quite simple to have APTN members in every single country if possible, and just to make it worldwide and be able to spread information and be able to have the network as wide and have as far reach as possible. So membership growth plans and targets. So in the APTN hub members on the LinkedIn group page, there's 1,100 members, but there's actually only 203 members who've signed up for the APTN platform. So again, we encourage me to let people know if they are on the hub group on LinkedIn that they should definitely go and sign up to the platform. Obviously our goal then, we currently have 203 members. Our goal is then to try to get 1,000 APTN members by the end of 2020. So I'll just show you here on this pie chart. As you can see, there's 45% basic members rather than ATP members, which is crazy really regarding if you look at the chart below it, showing the difference in ATP and basic members. And ATP is currently free for the next 6 months to sign up for. So if you've already signed up as a basic member, we encourage that you sign up again under a different email address, because you're really not getting full access to the APTN network platform as a basic member. You don't have access to any of the Zoom calls or any of the articles that will be posted on the APTN network. So then just finally, if you have any queries at all regarding the WhatsApp groups, the network itself, any of the LinkedIn pages, my email and WhatsApp is here. Feel free to reach out with any problems or issues that you may have.
Great, Alex, brilliant. Thanks very much for that. It's a good overview. I'll conclude by thanking again Paul and Carolus for their input here today, and Alex again for that overview, and we'll try and keep you updated on developments as they happen. So on that note, next week, looking at the topic of aircraft passenger to freighter conversions and what the options are in terms of MRO, aircraft that it's available for and what's happening in that market. So that's the plan for next week. So we'll be sending out a summary email of this call in the next day or two, and hope to see you again next Thursday at 12 o'clock. On that note, I'll sign off, and thanks for joining.
Thanks, Alan.
Thanks,
All
Alan.
right.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.